And I always did what I had to do so I could be me, you know. And the thing that I want to, one of my missions is to change the context of, one, how we deliver and digest music, because it's really easy for you to like comprehend a visual artist, you know, selling a painting for $1,000 or even $500 because it's a one-of-a-kind piece of art, and this is, you know, like a snapshot from this guy's mind and moment, or person, excuse me, mind and moment, you know, visually with a paintbrush or whatever. But then you go to an album, you know, someone making music. Yes, it's art, but it's only delivered as a commodity. That's how the record industry delivers it, is as a commodity. So it only gets value, you know, once you push lots and lots and lots of product. You know, and I think that there has to be a landscape where auditory art is not only delivered, but also digested and valued in the same way that visual art is. So, you know, you shouldn't feel weird about someone making one song. You know, there's only one copy, only one person can have it, and that be delivered as art, and that's something that you can own and you know, feel good about having a piece of auditory art, and you value it the same way you would a painting, you know, the same way you would a sculpture. And specifically, I like to compare when I'm talking about hip hop, because we talk about sampling, and you know, we talk about, you know, fair use, and you know, are we stealing music, or is it part of the culture? You know, like, first and foremost, this culture comes from poverty. This culture comes from, you know, not having music programs, not having the resources to have, you know, piano lessons, not even having the space to have a piano. You know, when you live in the inner city, that's not an option if you're in an apartment, or if you're living in lower incomes where, you know, families are brought together, and you got, you know, like how I grew up, you know, 9 to 10 people, you know, in a small apartment, because you just got to tribe up and survive, you know. So I understand these things from a lot of different perspectives, but I feel it's my mission to share my perspective with you, and like, I have a little piece of the puzzle, you know, someone else has a piece of the puzzle, we can put this together. So it's like, I'm not speaking about this as like a definitive, this is the way, but hey, let's talk about it, and let's broaden our horizons. And back to hip-hop, boom-bap specifically, and using samples, you know, and drawing parallels between visual art and auditory art. So you would have someone like, I'll use Andy Warhol as an example, you know, his Campbell soup prints that he did. You know, it's a Campbell soup can. Did he pay royalties to Campbell's for doing the Campbell soup can, or to Marilyn Monroe, or any of the other iconic things that he visually sampled? No. It was the context that he put them in that made them his, and it showed them in a different perspective, in a new light. And we appreciate that as art. You know, and Andy Warhol's work is valued and goes for lots of money. Even his silkscreen work, you know, it's a print. You know, it's not even hand painted. He's like, if you think about it, he was like the godfather of Photoshop. You know, he was doing shit you do in Photoshop now in the analog world. You know, so we value that. So like, now let's take samples. So, or, you know, you can look at collage artists. They take, you know, pieces of photos and other art, and they mash them together, and paste them together, and in a different context, and tell a narrative with it. So in the same vein, we have sampling. You know, hip hop's taking music from rock, it's taking music from jazz, it's taking music from soul, funk, you know, easy listening, folk, whatever, world music, you know, children's records, cartoons. You know, it's like we're pulling all these different sources, but we're molding them into this expression called hip hop, you know, and sharing that with the world. But for some reason, when it comes to certain communities, you know, we have to be a commodity. Like, we're not artists. You know, what we do isn't like well thought out and well composed, which a lot of it is. Listen to a lot of sampling artists, specifically people like, you know, Premier and people like that. That's not just sampling loops, but people that are like taking, you know, Premier might have 3 different records. He takes little fragments and puts them together as one. That's the audio collage. You know, so if he took that one song, didn't put it on a record, and he just sold it, like we can sell it as an NFT. You get the multi-tracks, you get the story behind it, you maybe get a video of behind the scenes of us making these kind of audio collage, and bam, this is audio art. No, everybody can't buy this. Oh, this was released in an edition of, there's only, 10 of these, or this is a one-of-one piece of auditory art. So I think there's going to be a group of artists that will move like this. And I think the music industry is always going to be the music industry. There's always going to be a place for the popular culture in the very limited frame that you're allowed to express yourself in. First and foremost, if you're like 25 to 30, they're already like, they're moving you out of the popular, music genre. So as artists, we have to think, what are we going to do when we're not, even for industry artists, what are you going to do when you're not popping anymore? Are you not going to be an artist? Some people are in the music game, as you can hear, it's a reflection of the art reflects, what's in the music, reflects what the lifestyle is. So a lot of people are getting into hip hop because they're trying to get out the streets, and I have no problem with that. Like I'll listen to coke raps all day. If that keeps like young brothers off the block really doing that shit, like I much rather would listen to coke raps, be they fantasy, be they some shit that you went through back in the day, and like you're telling your story, of how you got through that, but you're also aware of the damage that you've caused, not only to the people you were serving, but also even to yourself, to your family, to other family members that might got hooked on what you were selling, but you had to feed your kids. So there's a lot of people that that's a tough decision to make, to like, in a sense, save your own life and possibly destroy others. Will definitely destroy others' lives, but we all do some shit that's going to be a negative influence on someone's lives, be it giving them drugs, be it giving them bad advice, be it giving them bad vibes and jealousy. Like that shit will destroy more people than drugs, like for real. For real. So I just wanted to kind of build with y'all for a minute, and because it's been a while, and I wanted to, a lot of people ask me technical questions, about, how do you do blah, blah, blah on the octatrack and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that. Like the octatrack is my paintbrush, the octatrack is my hammer, the modular is a saw. It's a tool for expression. It's a tool to build things. You'll never hear a carpenter say, look at that amazing house that my hammer built. Like, no, his mind built that. His mind built it, and he got the tools that he needed to express his ideas. So we're doing no different in music. So when I find a way to express myself and find a sonic signature, that's because I studied other people that had sonic signature, and I didn't sonically step on their toes. I was just influenced by them. Like, I got to find my own sonic signature. I got to find my own sample. Like Pete Rock already got the SP1200. Primo already got the MPC 60. Beatnuts already got MPC 60s and 950s. Like, they're dominating that. I was like, I need mine that I'm associated with, and it took me a couple of years, but I'm absolutely, for hip hop, associated with the octatrack. And I definitely am the one that brought it into hip hop context and carved out my own sonic signature with a machine that existed for quite a few years before I got my hands on it. So yeah, I just said all that to say, just remember we're artists first. And another thing I want to bring up with commodifying music and the climate of music, with a lot of coke raps and shit, why not? That's what the music industry is. It's about pushing that work. So it's like, to me, I think the mainstream is the perfect landscape for those that are like from the mentality of pushing product, from those in the mentality of serving that work. Like take that to music, and get off the streets. By all means, y'all got my blessings on that. I'm a big fan of that genre of rap, regardless of like me being positive, me being a meditator. I'm a human being. I'm from Los Angeles, so I like my grit and my grind, just as much as I like, being out in the mountains and meditating. Like, it's the art of balance, so no judgment over here. Don't hold me to any goofy ass high standards of being an ascended anything. My feet are planted firmly on the ground. Like, I ain't floating, I ain't whispering. I drink tea and, you know, THC and psilocybin, you know, so that's me. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, and yeah, I'll be back and keep checking in with y'all, and, you know, we'll talk about it. Holla at me in the comments. Peace and love.